Ryan, this is my brother Daniel, and this is Rolls in the Family, and we are very excited to be here today with the highly anticipated final installment in our countdown of our top 50 games of all time, and not just that.
Oh.
If that wasn't enough, we are also selecting randomly the 3 winners of our game giveaway who will get to choose a game from our top 50s to be their own. It could be you. Man, if you're not just feeling a nervous excitement to watch this video, I don't know what we have to do. Honestly,
I know.
This is pulling out all the stops. We are going to include links in the description below to all the games we talked about today, the ones that we think are the best of the best, the cream of the crop. You know, maybe if you win, you maybe pick one of these, and if you don't win, you can buy it for yourself.
We are going to sell some good games today, Ryan.
Yes, we are going to convince you that your life just will be incomplete. Really, without some of these games in it. Yes, we do want to hear from you in the comments what your favorite board game of all time is. This is the video where that is the question.
If you put that on another one of our videos, we'll delete it.
Let us know, what is your all-time favorite? Is it a new all-time favorite? Has it stuck around for a long time? It's interesting things to see. Another thing we want to call out, there may be people that haven't watched the channel a lot in the past. We want to call it that we do have a monthly newsletter that we send out. We'll have a link to that in the description. If you want a monthly email from us that includes, links to videos in the past month, updates to our website recommendation guide, so new games that have made the cut to be officially recommended by us, as well as a bunch of photos with thoughts of games that we played in the last.
If I may say so myself.
Cinematic photos, at least in the one that I think maybe went out before this video is going to go out. So you can browse actually old newsletters through the website.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Wow.
There you go. You can go do it after we finish filming.
Sweet.
So just so you know how this video is going to go down, we are counting down our top 10, and scattered through there, we are going to be selecting with the giant giveaway wheel, the winners of the giveaway. So if that's all you're here for, it's a little sad. You could throw us a bone.
Yeah, that's actually messed up.
Watch a little bit of the content. But
good thing you can't skip ahead on YouTube.
Yeah, we disabled the feature to be able to skip ahead. Do not try. Don't click it. It won't work.
I see you.
It will not work. We will be doing that after every 3 entries, every 3 ranks of 2 entries each.
I got you.
Which will, the third one will be right before we announce the number 1.
Yeah.
So scattered amidst here. And Daniel, I do think we have to come clean here a little bit.
Oh boy. We are so excited to record this, aren't we, Ryan?
I think we have to come clean that this is not our first time recording this video. In fact, this does not happen often, but we recorded a nice doozy of a top 10 video with all the
winners and all
everything, only to find that we had none of Daniel's audio,
which may have been a better video. Who knows?
True, we should have really just tried it,
just posted it and seen,
or just given AI its best shot at lip reading the transcribing the captions. In hindsight, maybe that would have been the way to go.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, a real tragedy over here in Rolls in the Family.
I have never been so devastated.
Yeah, that's a gut punch when you find out you lost something like that. So if you ever wondered if we love you, if we care about you, the viewer, let the fact that you're watching this video right now, hopefully on schedule, it's evidence of it.
Right.
We're grinding out here for you.
Well, and most of you were not winners in the previous recording.
Yeah, so I was going to say,
and so you have a chance now.
What about the people that were chosen in the giveaway? That is now forbidden knowledge to be burned. It never happened.
It will never happen.
We will not
No one
disclose.
will ever know.
Think of it this way. You didn't win the giveaway, but now you have another chance.
Exactly. This video just got twice as exciting. Oh my gosh.
So
we're full of second chances here.
It's Dango and I. We if we come across as surprised in this video, it's either that we forgot what happened 24 hours ago. Yes.
Yeah.
But here we are. We're doing it.
We're here for you, folks. We're here for you. Okay.
Dango, let's get this rolling here.
Let's get this cooking, Ryan. My number 10. Oh, man. It's beautiful, Ryan, in board gaming when you see a board game that you enjoy continue to improve in iteration upon iteration. You don't see it a lot in games where, like, a board game releases like a full, I mean, in this case, a full-on new separate board game, but is taking the existing thing and improving it. And this, I guess, third iteration, I believe, is the definitive experience of this. This goes to Age of Innovation at my number 10. I've only played this game once, Ryan. And yet I've played it many times in the sense of we got Terra Mystica originally, and we really liked Terra Mystica. When we got, I can't remember how long ago that was when we got that game. But
it was a ways back. It was probably not that long after.
But
a
ways
came
back.
out.
Really, really liked that one. But then we got Gaia Project, and I think what we really liked about Gaia Project was added just some variability maybe to the game and whatnot. Although I will say I did in Gaia Project miss kind of the standard map a little bit of Terra Mystica. Like there were things I liked about Gaia Project, but maybe also some changes that I wasn't sure about and whatnot. Age of Innovation feels like it just delivers the pinnacle experience of that kind of whole system for me. You have the tried and true formula of your building buildings and terraforming, the different land and upgrading and kind of, it's got the cool power system and all that. So you kind of want to be next to people, which is one of the things I also like in the game. It encourages kind of interaction and you kind of all benefit off of being by each other, which is kind of cool. But so like a tried and true thing, if you love, Terra Mystica and Gaia Project, like you're going to love what Age of Innovation is doing, but it just injects so much, variability in terms of the start of the game. You get this random combination between, you draft. It's not just randomly given you draft a combination between, is it a faction and
it's like the board that has
the board,
you're like terraforming stuff. Yeah.
But that combination is so interesting. And so even just I remember the first time you pulled this out, Ryan, and you put it out on the board, and I'm realizing we get to draft these like unique combinations.
And they're really cool.
They're
faction
sweet.
Abilities and
they're
stuff.
They're really sweet. And so that it like took everything that I loved, it brought it back to kind of the more standard Terra Mystica map, which I liked. It just feels a little more constrained, a little easier to even just kind of, I don't know, see the board state of like, and it felt like it kept people kind of closer together, and whatnot, a little more interaction and whatnot. But man, Ryan, I love this system and just how that continual just upgrading buildings, getting power, using it. I mean, just things are constantly kind of, it's this cycle that is just really, really satisfying. On top of, I think this might be one of the most beautiful Euro games that I own.
Yeah,
I mean, truly,
nice.
Ryan, like that's not something you say a lot about, Euro games. It's usually not what they're known for, but I mean, you can see in the pictures, like the colors are just vibrant. I love the artwork. And so I just feel like this game took a system that is tried and true. Lots of people love it. And for us, I think Age of Innovation is kind of the pinnacle of that. So despite one play, I feel pretty solid about it.
Dang, only needs one play.
I only need one
to bring
play
the
for
hot
my
takes.
part.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I'm known for, Ryan, it is one play hot takes.
Yeah, that might be a new series we start here on the channel.
That's right.
It's good to have it's like the contrast between the two hosts,
We are
I'll be the voice of experience and you can just, go wild.
I just send off hot takes left and right.
My number 10 is just an old classic staple of our collection. It might be the game on my top 50 that I've had the longest, or it's in like a group of like maybe 3 that were really, really early on. Not one that gets played a lot these days. Unfortunately, did not get played in the last year because my primary person I play this with is you, and you don't live near enough for
You're
this.
Make me cry, right?
I know it's getting me a little choked up, but
I can tell.
Twilight Struggle is just an absolutely fantastic 2-player epic card-driven war game where you're playing out the Cold War. And just really a masterpiece of design with how everything comes together here and presents this constant tension as you're trying to fight over the map of like influence in different regions so that you can set up that when these scoring cards come out, you're set up to score for them. And it starts out with just Europe, Middle East, and Asia. And that the game is very interesting with just those in play because it's all driven by these cards where you're using them for either events or operation points that let you do different just actions on the board. But if it is your opponent's event, when you use the operation points, it triggers their event. And so much of the game is deciding when you want these bad events for you to trigger. And, you know, you don't love that you have it, but you also are like, I'm glad I get to pick when it goes instead of them picking when it goes.
It's so true. Yeah.
And so it's always, every hand is just such an interesting, how am I going to play this out? Not to mention the scoring cards, because when you get a scoring card, now there's this whole bluffing piece of, I don't really want you to know I have this scoring card. Like everybody knows which ones could come up and play, but I do have to play it by the end of the round. And do I try to improve my situation in that region before I play it? Or is that just going to tip my hand and, you know, potentially make things even worse if you're in a stronger position to double down on it? But then you hit the point in this game where you hit the mid game and you shuffle in the mid game deck into it. And suddenly there's no other game that I can think of that has this feeling of the game just suddenly opening up. You've been playing this interesting game and suddenly it's like you zoomed out. And now you are globally trying to manage what already was a very tense, difficult game. And there's a lot of scoring cards that could be in play. And that, you know, when your opponent does something in a region, you're kind of like, was that just because he, you know, had the opportunity to do something like that?
I do so many mind games with you, Ryan, where I'm just like, oh yeah, I guess I'll just put one over there, you know, act like I'm
so
not
sneaky.
doing it. I'm so sneaky. You never know it's coming.
Yes. But yeah, you know, we're not what I would call war gamers.
No.
Really, the only reason this game ended up in our collection is because it was #1 on Board Game Geek back in the day, and that was enough to be like, we got to try it. I'm so glad we did. We've had so many great games of it, and we have to get this played in the next year.
I know.
We've talked about like there's ways we could do it digitally, and it really is just long overdue to get a play of this one. It's too good of a game. It's an oldie. You know, maybe you're new to the hobby and don't know a lot about it, but I think this is, even if you're not into the more war game style of games, I think this is a very accessible one with the card-driven nature that a lot of people would really like. If you're looking for a bigger 2-player tense struggle, that is Twilight Struggle.
That was nice. Nice, Ryan. My number 9, you know, few games do I get as much joy out of setting up the game.
Oh, I was going to say, there's at least 8 more on this list.
Right. Few games, namely 8. Do I get as much joy as setting up the game as I do actually playing the game? Because, man, this strikes the child inside each one of us,
This
Ryan.
must be Jenga, right?
This must be Jenga. It's close. It's HeroScape. You know, Ryan, HeroScape making a resurgence in the board game world. You know, they've it really does warm my heart to see them, you know, breathing life into this game again.
Yeah, Renegade Games really brought it back to life.
Yeah.
It didn't look good for HeroScape for a while there because Hasbro tried to run like a campaign to reboot it and it didn't work out. And so it was just going to, you know, go by the wayside.
But I've got the classic HeroScape stuff. I've got a whole bin. And Ryan, you know, we got it originally. I mean, I remember that Christmas you gave it to me, and I've never cried for tears of joy over a Christmas present.
I don't know. I've seen you cry quite a few times.
Yes, but tears of joy, Ryan.
Oh, tears of joy. That's right.
Tears of joy. But man, so we played a lot of HeroScape together. But then it was really those high school years for me where my buddy also got a bunch of HeroScape stuff, and we would get together for these nights, combine our sets. I mean, we would spend like 1 to 2 hours sometimes just setting up. setting up this huge map. And that is so fun. I mean, I think about our joy of like building Legos. It's like if you get to do that, and then you get to play this epic fighting game on the map that you built. I mean, there's just so many things that is just such a fun experience. And the game system is really, really fun. Obviously just the 3D element of the map makes the gameplay really interesting. I think about mechanics like line of sight, where you literally like look from the head of the character you have and see if you can see any of the red part of the opposing character. So very like realistic mechanic that centers around the 3D spatial element of the game. I think about the use of glyphs in this game and how you can in the map get glyphs. How you place them can so control where the battles are, because they're valuable. Like you want to try to control glyphs because they give you a lot of really strong powers and stuff like that. So fun every game to just draft an army. And sometimes that might be big characters. Sometimes that might be these large squads. It's all based on the points that you have. And just go out and have this awesome, epic fight. I have not played this game in a while, but I will say, Ryan, I am starting to noodle around with my gaming group again.
Watch out when Daniel starts noodling.
Oh my God.
It's dangerous.
There's one thing our viewers know. It's that. So it's back into the top 10 after 1 year where it dipped out, and I don't know why it rose. Sometimes, Ryan, you just miss a game.
Memories. Yeah.
Miss a game long enough, and it'll surge back up. So number 9. I'm very happy to see you have it, Ryan. Now
I do. I don't really have the full experience now. I have like the little battle set.
You
from
gotta
the
start
new edition
somewhere, Ryan.
I've been playing with my son
It's
a little
gateway.
bit. Yes, we're planning on getting more of it, but like what we have
will.
right now doesn't really have the dynamic of the glyphs yet. Like, and we always basically have the same characters because like we don't have that many characters.
Yeah.
But we've had good fun with it. I think like you were saying with the line of sight and kind of the map element, I think it's a lot of these things that draw people to miniatures games. Like there's a lot of people that get into like full blown miniatures games, but it just eliminates some of the things that would turn us off, I think, from getting into miniatures game with like just the amount of setup and upkeep. Like the HeroScape terrain system makes it very easy to quickly build cool things with just and then you don't have any like movement templates or anything. It's spaces on the board. You just move around on spaces. So it is very cool, kind of just like how you can get a lot of those benefits maybe in a little more accessible way.
Totally.
All right, my number 9 dropped 4 spots. I don't think there's any reason for that other than things are shuffling around a little bit. This is one I really enjoy that combines, I'd say, 2 of the biggest heavy hitters of modern board game mechanisms that are just some of the most beloved mechanisms, which is worker placement and deck building. Just 2 really good ones. And the way that Dune Imperium brings them together and does it in a very thematic, interactive experience is just, it works really, really well. The core piece here of I'm doing worker placement, but I have to play a card with it, and the card determines which spaces or areas of the board I can go to is very interesting because I'm looking at my hand and trying to think which, cards do I want to play to go to different areas, but that's also going to trigger the ability of the card. So you're kind of like adding to the actual action on the board you're doing, whatever your card can do. But then there's an additional piece of whatever you leave in your hand and don't use for actions is going to be used in the reveal phase for your reveal, like the reveal portion of the card, which is often getting influenced to buy new cards to get, upgrade your deck, but it could be other benefits. And so the puzzle that makes when you draw your 5 cards for the round is just so good. It's so interesting of how am I going to approach the work? Like it's all the things that are interesting about worker placement by itself. But then with this added piece of how it works with your hand. And then you're not just, worker placements games are inherently interactive, right? Because you're blocking spaces, whatever.
Right.
But with this Dune theme, it's even more interactive how each round centers around this battle where everybody knows the rewards of like first and second place in this battle. And you have to decide as you're taking these actions, do I want to be in the battle this round? Is that something I want to go after? Do I think there's going to be a lot of competition for it? Because if you want to go for it, you have to go to specific spaces to be able to get into the battle. Right. But you don't want to be in every battle. Like it's going to be hard to fight be strong, you know, and you would rather probably sit out a round and then go really strong in a different one. And so that piece is interesting, how it fits into everything. And then you got the player powers, and, you know, I'm not like a Dune enthusiast, but I'm probably more than most people
book,
in that I've read the book and I've seen the movie.
Okay,
so I'm like,
that's like
familiar.
You're like in the
with
top 1 percentile of the population.
Well, yes, for including everybody that doesn't even play games.
Come on, Ryan, that's enthusiast.
Yes. But it is fun, like, you know, having seen, because I've seen the movie since I played this game, and all the art actually is like based off the new movies. It's like a hand drawn, but
that's cool.
You can tell that it's like the actors and actresses. My favorite way to play this is with the Rise of X expansion, and I also really like the Immortality expansion. I know a lot of people are talking, there's a lot of buzz around Dune Uprising. I have not played it. I also don't feel like super compelled to go out of my way to play it. Like, I'm not going to buy it because I'm so happy with what I have. Given the opportunity, I'd jump on it. And I know I'm probably going to have people in the comments that are like, you got to try it because it's the way to do it. But I am so happy with how the base game is with the 2 expansions that are out for it that, you know.
If you're happy, Ryan, don't listen to the haters.
You know, you only have so much time. It's like, do I spend time on a new game to get a game that's 90% the same as this game?
Right.
I guess the same
Stick
argument.
to your guns, Ryan. Stick to your
same
guns.
argument could have been applied when I got Age of Innovation and replaced Gaia Project. But, you know, we
can do whatever we want.
Yeah, we'll do whatever
and it's
we
always
want.
the right move. Very nice, Ryan. My number 8. This is a game that we both love dearly, and it's probably honestly when I think of, you know, sometimes I think about what are kind of just the gateway games to different complexity levels. This is kind of my gateway game to kind of the top or towards the top tier of complexity levels of when I'm like wanting to introduce someone to maybe just some of the heavier Euro board games that there are, because I think this one just does a fantastic job. This goes to Terraforming Mars. You know, Terraforming Mars, one, I really enjoy the theme. I think it's a fun theme, and it's kind of unique in the sense of we're technically all working together on this, like, terraforming Mars, right? Like, you're all
at least on those 3 metrics,
right?
We're all
on those like 3
along.
metrics, but it's not a cooperative game. Obviously, we're all kind of competing. But the game strikes this really interesting balance between, one, it is a you know, getting cards engine building game. You are building up this engine of resource production and converting things. And gosh, I love just when there's pieces and I'm just, you know, like I'm going to spend this and turn this into this, you know. I love that. And this game leans really hard into just getting lots of cards and finding combos and engine and like building up this engine in front of you. So it's got that, but where I find it maybe differentiates itself from other games is it's not just this I'm just by myself doing my own solitaire experience. You've got this incredibly interactive shared board, and I've got Naomi.
Do you have a visitor?
Naomi,
you want to say hi?
You want to say hi on the channel? Do you want to say hi? Okay, whatever. You want to come say hi to the people?
Didn't know there was going to be a special guest today.
I didn't know there was going to be a special guest either. I'll finish talking about Terraforming Mars.
I mean, you've played Terraforming Mars with Naomi, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's perfect timing.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about how just Ryan, it has that shared element of the like awards and milestones and things that draw you to I gotta care about what you're doing in this game, and like the placement of the board. If I see you've got some greeneries out, like I gotta opportunistically play a city, you know, capitalize on that. So this game strikes that balance really well, and honestly, a game that I don't think I would ever turn down playing game of Terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
You know,
it's really one also the last 2 times I've played, or a few times I've played it, I get done with it and I'm like, I kind of want to play it again soon. Like it really just is an addictive experience.
It totally is. Naomi, do you want to say bye to the fans? Want to say bye?
Bye.
Okay. Ryan, you want to introduce us into the next one here, and we'll
sure.
roll.
Yeah, let's see. We're going to my number 8. My number 8 is a game that when I played it for the first time, I remember one of my first thoughts was, wow, this is like fresh when it comes to heavier strategy games. You know, there's a lot that come out that are rehashes of a lot of existing things. You know, like I've seen a lot of these things in games.
Yeah.
And this one just felt like it was doing something new to me in the feel of it. It's a game that actually you had first and introduced to me. Although I think I told you about it for you to get it. So,
Okay.
You know, this is a common cycle.
You convinced me to buy it, and then you
so
tried
that
my
I can
copy.
try it without buying it.
Well, I
And
see through your tricks.
It doesn't work as well now that you live so far away.
I
But
know.
this is Great Western Trail. And I feel like every time we talk about this game, we talk about how more than any other game in this kind of like strategy game category, it has this element of pacing that's just so different because you're trying to get to Kansas City. And whenever you get to Kansas City, you're going to start at the beginning of the trail again. And it's when you get to Kansas City that you get to sell your cattle to a certain city, but it's going to be based on the value of your hand at that point. And so the whole time you're going along the path, you're trying to get your hand to be better, which basically means different types of cows in your hand by the time you get there. But then those cards are also how you do different actions on the board. You might have to discard a white 2 to get something. And so there's a little bit of like push your luck of, as I'm getting closer and closer, how much do I mess with my hand and blindly draw, knowing that I might kind of mess it up right at the end. But it's got this beautiful tension where you want to go fast. You know you have to. Like, the more times you can deliver to Kansas City while still getting good enough that you're able to deliver to new cities, the better, especially if other players are pushing the pace. But you also want to be getting the most out of the actions along the way. And so, you know, I would say this game is a little sprawling when you zoom out and all the different systems and everything that's going on. But when you zoom into your individual turn, you, at the beginning of the game, have 3 movement. There's usually 3 spots you could go. And so it's like, okay, it's not like worker placement where you could go anywhere. It's like, no, you're going to one of the next 3 spots. The one right in front of you kind of has the inherent downside that you're choosing to go slower. The third one has the upside of you're choosing to go faster, generally. And then you have to weigh that with the actual value of the actions and everything. And I just think it works so well. I love the light deck building and the way the hand building happens as you're going through here. I love that path is evolving. People are putting new buildings down. You can put some nice new actions out for yourself and kind of play into your strategy by giving yourself certain opportunities at certain points on the trail. You know, at the beginning of the game, we always randomize the common buildings, which gives a different feel, like whether when the cattle purchasing is the first thing, that has a very different feel because you've just gotten paid a ton from delivering, but it's like, do I want to use all my money right away and be poor for the rest? Which, speaking of which, there's the whole taxing thing that players can put up buildings that force you to tax, but if you don't have any money, you don't have to pay because you can't. And so there's often this trying to spend all your money before you go through
I will make a bunch of poor decisions in spending money just so I don't have to pay the tax.
There's a lot of times where I wonder, does this really make sense to do to avoid paying 1 or 2 coins to this other player? But yeah, this one, we actually really enjoy the Rails to the North expansion. It really opens up the delivery phase to be more interesting with kind of where you choose to go. We have the original edition of the game, so we haven't played the second edition, nor have we played any of the
best
spin-offs. Yeah, Daniel still prefers the first edition artwork. I think you're in the minority. But,
no. Everyone agrees.
I like how the first edition looks. I don't really have any complaints with it. And I would definitely enjoy if I had the opportunity to try like Argentina or New Zealand or some of these new editions that are out. It's hard for me to justify getting another standalone. It's one of these weird things where it's like, if it had been an expansion,
you would consider it.
I feel like I would have like gotten it.
Yeah, if it was just a map expansion.
The fact that it's a base game like puts it into like a different category.
Yeah, now you're
me.
saying like I would rather get a game with a different experience than this one.
So maybe that's a weird way to think. I mean, maybe I should just get it and think of it as an expansion, and we either play one or the.
It's true.
But I already, it's not like I play it that often, and I already enjoy the base Great Western Trail experience so much. that it comes in at my number 8, which brings us to our first giveaway selection. I never know what to call this segment. We should have come up with a nice catchy name. But let's jump over to the wheel of names. All right, here we have it. The mega wheel.
Look at that
of
wheel.
entrance. We
Oh
may
my
be pushing
gosh.
the limits of this website. We'll see if this keeps working for
Might just
us.
crash.
But we are going to give this a spin to pick our first winner, who will get to select a game for themselves. There it goes.
Any game off the
Don't-
top 50.
Ooh, we're actually trying to hypnotize our whole audience with this wheel.
Here we go.
Here it is, and it is Jenna N.
Jenna!
We did anonymize the names, but I did it in a way that should be unique. You should know it's you if it's you. So
Jenna!
congratulations, Jenna. We will be
Nice
in touch
job.
with an email in the coming days to figure out what game you want to get.
Well, Ryan, we are back and we are ready to sell Jenna on some
Yeah.
more board games.
This next one is what you're thinking, or
Oh, I don't know. I will say,
is it out
Ryan,
of budget? Is it out of budget?
I don't know what restrictions apply, but I will say, Ryan, this next one is the only new game on
Whoa.
my top 10.
I'll try to really look extra surprised.
Yeah, Ryan, you have no. What if I said a different game? Can you?
Yeah.
I just pull a fast one.
That
on
would
you?
have been a good twist in this, is shake up the list.
I should have. My number 7 goes to a game that I played only one time, and already I think I can definitively say, objectively, that it is the best deck building game I've ever played.
That's a pretty big claim, actually.
That is, I know, I'm not messing
Yeah.
around here. I tried, like I said, hot take Daniel, back at it again.
Yeah.
This goes to Slay the Spire, the board game. Oh my goodness, Ryan. You know, I actually, going into it, like, we both enjoy Slay the Spire, the video game. You played a lot more than I did, but always saw the board game mechanics in it. You know,
It's clearly inspired by tabletop deck building.
Totally. And so honestly, when the board game first came out, it was kind of like, well, why would you do this? You already have the video game, you know? Like
Yeah.
what's the point of this? And yet I think I have just been blown away by their implementation of Slay the Spire. One, from how they took an excellent video game and brought the spirit of it into a board game and made it just work so well. I mean, there's so many places in this game where you can just tell design-wise, it's like they had to change something, otherwise it would be the most tedious thing ever to actually do in a board game. But it keeps the heart of the thing. And so,
Yeah.
one, they got over the hurdle of just all the various like barriers of moving from a video game to a physical board game that you're doing. But what this game adds, which namely, I'll start, cooperative play.
That's the big one.
That is just I mean, especially for me. Like, I am not a solo board gamer. I'm not, even like video games, not really I don't play by myself that much. Being able to take this amazing experience of Slay the Spire and we get to do it together. We get to each have our own unique character. We get to work together going through the dungeon and have synergy off of each other. That is just such an unbelievable add for me, which is why it just takes that experience and elevates it to a whole nother level. Reason I say this game is one of the best deck builders is I just haven't played a deck builder that one has such unique deck building for each character. I mean, we talk about how each character has its own unique card pool of upgrades. Like, I'm not sure I've seen that in another game where you have that drastic of a difference
like
between characters.
Big card pool.
Very big.
Like a card pool that in another game might be the whole card pool for the game. Yeah.
Totally. And you're getting these upgrades like, I mean, it's just that loop of getting upgrades
It
is
has
happening
such
all
a
the
nice
time.
loop in this game.
It's just happening so much. You add on top of that, I mean, I love what they did with like relics and whatnot, and the whole system where you roll a die at the beginning of like kind of the round, and that controls a bunch of different things. Like, you'll have a lot of relics that'll say, on this die roll, they trigger on this die roll or something like that, which is, again, different from the video game, but an interesting way to kind of, how you're kind of building yourself up or with these relics and whatnot. And when they trigger, the die roll controls how enemies respond, which again is different from the video game because you can see the options of what the enemy
like
can
beyond
do.
just their current
one. Like in the video game, all you see is their intention for the next one. You get to see all the options, which I think actually makes the board game more accessible than the video game in the sense of for a beginner, it's just easier to understand. You don't have to memorize as many things.
Strategize
right
from the first time of you playing around what their behavior. You don't have to remember how a certain enemy behaves.
Totally. So this is just an unbelievable deck building experience, and I really do believe the definitive one that I've played.
Definitive, or at least the best.
I'm using the strongest words I can
really
use. I went on ChatGPT beforehand and said, give me 20 synonyms for best. And I've been slipping them in everywhere, Ryan.
Yeah. We actually did a Slay the Spire specific video comparing differences between the board game and the video game. If you are interested, we could link that above. That would be our extended thoughts on this topic.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
My number 7 has been mentioned already on
I love
this
how
list.
I have completely forgot what your list was.
I know, it's good. And this is one that kind of has a long history, despite only playing this version 3 times, have a lot of plays on the previous games in this game system. This is Age of Innovation. And now I was very happy with Gaia Project. And in previous years, going back 2-3 years, Gaia Project was here in my top 10 games. And when I saw that this version was coming out, my first reaction was, what is it with the Terra Mystica design team that they just keep feeling like they need to revisit the system in a new way and make a full new standalone game? And so I wasn't really interested in it. But you start to see some things about it, and I started seeing some of the changes, and I was like, oh man, this is actually it feels like on paper, it's taking the best parts of Terra Mystica and the best parts of Gaia Project and kind of combining them into this in-between almost. And I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I think this might... It just sounded like they were speaking to my taste. It's like everything I would have wanted them to do with a new edition of the game. And ended up getting it, and I am just so happy with it. I feel like I just have finally found... Now, are they going to make another game in
wait till they
3
make
years?
the next one.
How many times am I going to have to replace this game? But, man, it's so good.
Yeah.
It, like you said, it brings back the more Terra Mystica feeling map, which just feels more homey, feels more like you're interacting directly with people, and it's very clear kind of how you're getting cut off, or it feels a little more interactive. The factions and the way they do the variability in this game of kind of the setup variability of what you get and what's in the game, it leans a little bit more into kind of Gaia Project's variability, which I really, really love. But then the new system here, which is kind of the dangerous part. It's like, man, you're adding a new system into the game. Is it going to be justified to have this? Because it's such a tried and true system, like the core of the Terra Mystica. And it's such a game that's been played at the competitive level, and they have so much data and everything to make it really balanced. But they add this new thing with this book resource, and you get these books, and I wasn't so sure about it, but having played it, man, it's great. You get these book resources, and you kind of have different things you can do with them, one of which is to take the book actions that are kind of like the power actions on the board, but those are randomized. So every game, it's different what the book actions are going to be. So absolutely love that. It kind of changes up what the books are going to be good for. But then you also can use them to get the innovations that are kind of the focus of the title of the game. And those are going to be these super powerful things. Oftentimes they're the types of things that you can pull off this big combo to get an innovation that's just going to score you a big pile of points and really turn the tide of the game. And those are all randomized, and there's tons of them. And so that's really cool. They also decoupled the like it's not a stronghold, is it? Daniel?
Oh, come on,
It
Ryan.
is. What is it called?
Come on, Ryan.
So help me if they make a fourth version of this game, because I already have
gosh.
3 versions of every component named in my brain. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called in this game.
Okay.
But the big building, it used to be that the ability of your stronghold-like structure
Yes.
was paired with your faction or your board, whereas now it's like, I think in the normal mode that we play, there's like, 5 of them that are out, and whoever builds their stronghold first actually gets to draft what their stronghold's going to do.
That's so cool.
And there's tons of those that are in the game, and
So
so
cool.
you every time you play the same faction, you might get a completely different one of those to pair with and go with a different innovation. All of the not tech tiles, but whatever those bonus tiles are, it's something education related. Those are all
Schools?
randomized as well, which tracks they're associated with and everything. And so all that variability just sings.
It sings.
And this game, I mean, it feels like a game that has been tuned over a decade because that's what it is. It is literally been played and tuned, and it just really is an excellent, heavier, thinkier, low luck strategy game.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to playing this one many, many times, hopefully to the point that I remember what all the pieces are called.
That's how you know you've played it enough.
Yeah.
That's when they can release a new version, once we've learned the pieces.
Yeah, once I really have it solidified.
Very nice, Ryan. Moving to my number 6. This game moved up 5 spots, so back into the top 10.
Back.
And man, Ryan, rightfully so. You already mentioned this one, but I'm going to go a step further because I don't think I use strong enough language when I describe board games. But I'm going to call this one a borderline masterpiece. And when I say that,
Borderline.
a borderline masterpiece for
Come on,
what
commit
it's
to your hot take, Dave.
It is a masterpiece
Yes.
for what it's trying to do. This goes to Twilight Struggle. And I really believe that, Ryan. I mean, this game, it truly feels like the mechanics with the theme just comes together perfectly. I look at this game and I can't, there's no part of it that I'm like, oh, that part's a little, messy, or they could have cleaned it. Just across the board, it's like, this feels kind of like a perfect board game. Not meaning perfect like everyone's going to like it, but just for what they were trying to do, it is executed perfectly. You mentioned it earlier, like the arc of the game is so exciting because it's just, you feel the tension. It's like you have tension right at the start of the game around just those 3: Asia, Middle East, and Europe. And then it's just stretching that tension larger and larger. And now you have tension everywhere. And the card play is so great. I love how it's not a game where it's like, oh, you just got a bad hand of cards. Like, sorry. Every hand, is bad and good, if that makes sense, because even if you get a bunch of cards that are really great cards for your opponent, well, guess what? They don't have those cards, and they probably, it's probably flipped the other way around as well for them. Just the back and forth of that card play, when to play events, what to use them for. When am I going to do a coup? Like a well-timed coup can be critical. While you're also trying to navigate the DEFCON status. And if it goes up, it sits at 2, it ends up getting to 2 for a lot of the game. But if it goes up,
a lot of the game is let me get my coup in a battleground to put it to 2 so that you can't.
Totally. And so there's just an immense amount of tension, and for when you've got 2 players who just are, pretty evenly matched, which was not always the case in this game.
We got there. We finally got
there. We finally got to the mid-war, Ryan. I was very glad.
Oh, look at all these cool cards we never got to see.
I always thought the game was just the early war. It's a quick game. But this game is just an absolute blast, and one that, Ryan, we got to get this to the table again.
Yeah, I think if we're here next year doing this video,
shame us.
And we're both saying that,
shame us.
I think we'll do a live stream and just ask everybody to come and just pile on the shame.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, we need some accountability.
That's right.
Nice. My number 6 is a game that we've had for a long time. When I originally got it didn't rank as highly on my list, though I liked it. But there was a pivotal moment where we said, what if we try the cooperative mode of this game? Because the default mode is competitive, but we tried the co-op mode, and suddenly it was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I'm never playing the competitive version ever again. And this is Mage Knight, the board game. We have the Ultimate Edition that has all the expansion content. And yeah, I know this one is very popular in the solo gaming community, which is similar to playing cooperatively. But this game, particularly as like a 2-player cooperative game, I've played it with 3, and that's very fun, but you are adding on like 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours per player.
So you got to really want it.
Gosh.
But yeah, this at its core, deck building again, which is such a good mechanism for progression, right? And that feeling of every game having a different progression. But this game is the closest board game that I've played to that feeling of a video game, like an RPG where you're leveling up over time, and there's like distinct moments where you level up and you get and that happens in this game. You get experience, and when you level up, you're going to get a new card to your deck, you're going to get a new character specific ability thing that you get to use. And the way that those stack over the course of the game, by the end of this game, you've come so far in how powerful you are. But the game scales the difficulty. Like, it's not like you get so powerful and you steamroll. No, it's like you better get so powerful because you're going to have this clash at the end. I so many times finish this game and go, how, after the 4 hours of everything we did in this game, did it come out to be so close in that last battle? You would think it would more often, like, you'd get crushed or, but it just really seems like it comes down to we just have enough, to pull it off, or we don't. And yeah, it's such an epic climax to everything you've done up to this point. Now, this is not an easy game to learn.
You don't like the rulebook, Ryan?
If you sit down and just try to learn this from the rulebook, it's a big challenge. It's a tough. I definitely would recommend finding some online tutorials. But man, it really.
I've got more kids.
You got 2 this time?
I got 2 kids this time.
Man, maybe I'll finish up my thoughts on Mage Knight, and then maybe we'll cut for a second. But it just the epic experience of it. It just really is outstanding, and one that has held here in my top. I mean, I have it was at 3, and then 5, and then 8, and then 6. So a mainstay of my top 10. Did your children get snagged? Oh no, I see one.
No,
They just got really quiet.
They're just chilled there. We got a live audience, right?
Cool. We'll make a quick cut, sort it out, and we'll be back instantly. After edits.
That's right. Okay, Ryan, we're back. The kids are headed to bed. But we are not, because we're here to talk about.
I kind of wish I was.
I kind of wish I was too. I was jealous. But we're here to talk about my number 5, Ryan, which, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about a game like this that delivers what I would argue one of the best thematic experiences in a board game. I love, when a game can bring a group into feeling something more than even just playing something. And I remember the first time playing this game and that sense of dread that came over me. It's something that I think this game delivers in a way that I have not experienced in any other game. This goes to Nemesis. Now, kind of a funny selection in the sense of I sold Nemesis.
Couldn't have been that good.
It wasn't my number 1, so I sold it. No, I sold it because I have now acquired Nemesis Retaliation, and we'll have, I'm sure in future videos, some thoughts on why went that route. But for this video, we will still, Nemesis will still be the title that we use, because honestly, it's very similar systems. But this game, you are dropped into, you are in this ship, and just the way aliens, could come out around any corner, the noise that you're spreading in the ship, and it's a game that you can truly die kind of at any time, which is part of the fun of it, is the fear of trying to survive. You add on top of that, it is a semi-cooperative game. And I would say I wouldn't say, my list says, it is my favorite semi-cooperative game, which we've played a few in the past. We started with Battlestar Galactica, had some fun with that one, played some Dead of Winter. I like this one, I think the most, because I like that it's not just like, oh, you're either completely good or you're a total traitor. And that's a different experience. But I like that. I always felt like that made it hard to kind of balance the game for everyone else. Like if you have a traitor, it's really hard to win. If you don't, then it's maybe easier. Whereas this one, the objectives are just kind of mixed. It's like,
you always know that everybody else has some other motivation.
Yes.
That you're not sure.
Exactly.
What that's
and those
mean.
Other motivations can lead to just interesting moments and things happening, like someone going to the whatever room that controls the doors in the ship and maybe closing doors at an inopportune time or something like that. I think what this game does is it tells a story. Like at the end of the game, you feel like you have just lived this really fun cinematic story, and oftentimes it ends with you dying, but if it doesn't, the excitement of that you survived, so this one, I think, just it gives me that experience in a way no other game has, and it's just super sweet to drop in on a ship and have all these like terrifying aliens. It'd be a sweet game to paint. If I tell you, if I get into painting miniatures, I think Nemesis might be one of the first ones I start with, because there's some cool minis.
Look nice.
I did not include Nemesis in contention for my list this year. I have played the original one time, but I have Nemesis Retaliation now and have not played it.
You need to.
So tune in next year to find out.
Yeah, I will be. I'm actually going to be very interested to see where that lands for you.
Because I definitely enjoyed Nemesis. I mean, enough that that was
even with me teaching it wrong.
Yeah, that was even with playing probably the majority of the rules wrong.
It was pretty bad.
Yes. Nice. Yeah, there's games like that where there's a cost to the anything could happen. It could swing really poorly, but it also opens up the possibility of experiences that you wouldn't be able to have otherwise.
Right.
And so with the right group, it's worth the risk.
So true.
My number 5 is nothing like that, though. My number 5 is a very, very popular game that when I first saw this come out, on paper, I was like, this could have the chance of like competing with some of my top games of all time. Because there's a lot of times I have games on my wish list that I'm like, oh, this would be a fun game to get, and I'm, excited to try it.
Right.
But rarely do I go, this game has the DNA that's the type of game that could compete with my top games and not just be a top 20 game or something. And this is Ark Nova. And it's got some pieces similar to some games we really enjoy. I would say the deck of unique cards has a feel of something like Terraforming Mars. And kind of just like, how am I going to work with what I get? But then you're building on your own board instead of a shared board. And so that almost is more like some of these games that we really like, that you're building your own thing. And the combination of the spatial puzzle in this with the tableau building is just really, really nice. I love I need to build a size 4 enclosure because that's a prerequisite for me to play this animal, because I'm going to need to put it. But then now I am thinking, well, in the spatial puzzle, where does it make sense for me to put a size 4 enclosure, and do I want to go this way to hit these bonuses, or what is this going to close me off from? But then once I have it, that's what enables me to now play that card into my tableau and flip it. And so there's this interplay between the spatial puzzle and your cards that you're playing that just really works really well. And you add in a lot of just other solid systems around it. You know, you got the interesting conservation track and appeal track, and you're trying to get them to cross. And I've had games where I really am strong in one, or other games where I'm really strong in the other, and that's feasible to do those types of strategies because, you know, you ultimately just need to get them to cross each other.
Right.
But really, I think the standout mechanism in this game, as far as the feel of playing it, is that card system for driving your actions, and the fact that, you know, you have 5 different actions you can take in any given turn, but the one that's furthest to the right, which equates to the one that's been the longest since you've done that, is going to be the strongest version of that action. And so you're trying to sequence things to do strong actions as much as possible, but you also have to be balancing that with, what do I really need to do now? There are times where doing the weak action, if it's the right action, is the right strategic decision. So that it is really interesting. I love how it gets you to think 1 or 2 turns in a row of like, oh, I'm going to do this so that this will slide, so that I'll be able to do it at the right level. So I would say that this, for us, I think both has delivered on what we wanted it to be. I mean, 5 is pretty high on my list.
Only complaint of it, Ryan. My only complaint is the final scores that it puts out, where it's like
the actual numbers.
The actual numbers, where it's like, oh, winner.
Like I got 7 to negative 10.
Yeah, I'm like, they should have just, I don't know, shifted it so that
it does.
like you actually
it does
did
feel
something.
bad as a new player when you play a heavy board game for 3 hours and your score is -5.
Yeah, I know, right? And you may have not done
Wait,
that
I
bad.
made negative progress.
Right, I know.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. This is one I'm really excited. I've played it 8 times. I really like the Marine Worlds expansion. Has really added some nice spice into my recent games of it. Who knows? Maybe this is one that goes up for me. But it's definitely up in the mix here with some of my favorite games of all time. You know what time it is, Daniel?
7:23.
Oh, look at that. PM. Yeah. We got to go pick another winner, Daniel. Let's jump over there.
It's time.
All right, everybody. I am giving the wheel a spin. Now's the time to cross your fingers. You know, maybe this is the one. It is for Nathan F.
Let's go, Nathan.
Congratulations. I hope this made your day.
I hope Nathan just jumped on the table and is just
we
going
will be
crazy
in touch
right now.
Start thinking which game you want.
And we are to my number 4, which, Ryan, is one of the most stable games in terms of where it has sat in the rankings over time. I've got a 4-3-4-4 here. So this is one's just been holding steady, and one that you have mentioned as being one of the best cooperative experiences, despite maybe not being designed originally as a cooperative experience. This goes to Mage Knight Ultimate Edition. I've played this 15 times, Ryan, and maybe one of those was competitive. Like I think
we played a few. I think
did we? Okay, we played a few of it. It is pretty crazy. I can't think of another game that we've had where changing. I mean, that is a like fundamental change to the game. You know, going from.
I mean, so much of the game feels similar. It's just now when somebody's snowballing their engine, you actually are like happy for them instead of like, oh well, I've lost the game. I guess I'll play out.
You care about other people's turns now in terms of like it's exciting to see what they're doing. You know, you were just mentioning kind of the arc of the game. I always
we love a good arc.
Oh, I love a good arc, Ryan, and I love in this game how it starts, where you come up in that little shared space, and then it's like, okay, we're playing 2-player. Okay, where are we going to go? Like, this game has such a great start of game exploration feel, because you don't really want to go to the same place because you're going to, take from each other. So it's best to kind of split off and go in 2 different directions. And so you feel like you're heading out on your own adventure and you're encountering these different things. And through it all, you're trying to, upgrade after upgrade. And you were mentioning how the upgrade, it's not just like, not necessarily just you're getting things all the time, but you really do feel that like getting experience, and then you hit another, upgrade level like in a video game, and you get these really impactful things. I mean, the game is just building you up into this absolute beast. I mean, the cards that you get between like spells and stuff, like when you have is it mana? Is that what the stuff is
Mana
called?
is on your turn, and then you can
crystallize it. There you go. So when like if you have those and you've got some spells that you can, you can pull off some crazy things. And guess what? You're going to need it, because when we get back to that final boss, when we come together at the end, it is lay on the table the fruit of your labor, because this is not an easy fight. I still am amazed how whenever I get to that final battle, Ryan, and you tell me how many of these like white dragons we have to pull out and distribute, I'm like, what? How are we going to pull this off? And the worst is when, one of us, namely me, is less powerful than you. And so it's like,
sometimes what happens is like to get to that final fight, somebody had to like get rid of a dragon or something. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes somebody has already kind of unloaded.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, I just like cannot do as much in this final battle.
Yeah. But it just delivers such an epic arc, such an epic upgrade, and that final battle, like you said, that is so often so close and so tense. It is so fun. I mean, it is an experience that is long. The rules are not easy, but man, if you can learn this one and find someone who enjoys this, I mean, this is just gives that kind of epic, just you experience power in this game.
And you get to do it in one game.
Yeah, in one game.
You don't have to get together for a campaign. You get to get the full experience.
Totally.
In a single game.
It takes what a lot of people love about campaigns of like, and it smashes it all together into one go.
A long go. Still
go. But still, one go, you get that arc all at one time, which is, I just think, so incredible. So that's my number 4.
So it's funny, we described this final battle as so epic. It's important to understand it's very puzzly. When we say epic, it's everybody silently for 10 minutes trying to figure it
But at least you can help each other since it's cooperative. Like at least you can talk a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but it is one satisfying puzzle.
It is.
My number 4 has also been pretty stable. It debuted at number 9 a few years back, but then jumped to 3 and then was 3 last year. Now at 4, this is not a game that when I first saw it, I ever thought would be up here in the top tiers of my list. But it's just really, really good. And I think a lot of people have overlooked this one.
Oh, wow.
I think a lot of people have overlooked this one.
Tune in. Listen up.
And that is Lorenzo Il Magnifico. And as the beautiful cover appears on your screen now, you may have seen it before and maybe like, oh yeah, I never really checked that game out, because maybe you judged a book by its cover.
Unbelievable.
I'll admit it does not look super exciting. But I would go as far as to say this is one of the best engine building games I've played.
Yeah.
And the feeling of because there's different kinds of engine building, of like building up your character, building up a tableau. This one is interesting because you're kind of literally building 2 different engines.
Yeah.
You've got kind of this worker placement in the game that you're collecting cards, and 2 of the colors of cards you collect, the green ones are going to go into this row that's like your production engine, and the yellow cards are going to go into this row that's kind of like your conversion engine. And so then when you go do the action to run your green cards, you get to produce a bunch of resources based on what cards you've gotten. What makes it interesting, though, is each card has a die value on it. And it's only going to produce if the worker that you went there was a high enough value to trigger it. And so you might get a green card that is an amazing production. Maybe it gives you a faith point, which is in this game
that's
hard
big.
to come by.
That's
faith points are big. If you don't want to get excommunicated from the church in this game, you need those faith points. Well, that's amazing to produce that, but it might be a 6. So that means unless you're going with a value 6 worker, you're not actually going to get it. And so that's just a really interesting piece of the engine, and you can kind of like intentionally run it at a lower level and be like, I know I'm not going to get these top things, but it's still worth it to me. And then the yellow one, you're able to do a lot of conversions to convert resources into other resources or into points or different things. And so that's very fun within this game that has a lot of engine building to literally have two rows that are kind of their own engines. The worker placement, I mentioned the values of the workers. It's cool because you roll 3 dice at the beginning of the round, and those 3 die results are the values of everybody's workers. So if the orange die is a 4, everybody's orange worker is a 4. And so this does mean it's always fair.
Yeah.
Right? Like nobody's getting better workers.
I love the collective groan at the table when
there
you
can
get
be
a
some
bad
brutal
roll.
moments in this game because it's tight. This is a tight game.
Yeah, it is.
And so when you get constrained on the numbers, it's really hard, but it's, how's everybody going to deal with it?
Better have a lot of workers.
And, if you leaned more into the servants, that's what gives you some flexibility to adjust those. And yeah, we tend to like tight strategy games where like you feel like you're having to really work for what you're getting, and you feel clever when you figure out ways to do things. And this sure is tight. You're always short on something, whether it's money or servants.
Doesn't that sound
and
fun?
Once one person goes into a tower to take a card, now you have to pay 3 coins if you want to go into the same tower. And so it is a really, it's not easy what you do here. But all of that is great, I would say. But you add on top of that some of the modules that they have of the leaders that you get in your hand that are these abilities that once you meet the prerequisites, you can get out and have those for the rest of the game. And then with the Houses of Renaissance, the actual house faction abilities that are some of the most drastic player powers I've seen in any game ever.
Yeah.
Like one of them is like you get another 3 worker the whole game. Like you just have another worker that nobody else has.
I love that one.
There's just really wild things where everybody's like, wow, yours does what?
Yeah, they're unbelievable.
And so they just took the system, this core system, and where a lot of designers would have stopped, they were like, what if we just level up with more kind of abilities? It does mean this is a game, because the engine building is so kind of massive. There are often massive score discrepancies in this game. I have to warn people, like, oftentimes the person that wins by 50 points.
And is that usually you, Ryan?
It is not. Let me tell you, I've learned that apparently I'm not good at this game. Or at least recently. I feel like I just get crushed.
Hey,
but
it says a lot.
I have a great time every time I
Ryan has a great
play it.
time losing at this game.
Great time losing. But yeah, it's fantastic. And so, I'd say anybody that likes their kind of tight worker placement strategy style games, like if the types of mechanisms I'm describing are light games that you enjoy, do not overlook Lorenzo the Magnifico, because it's fantastic.
I would have overlooked it if it wasn't for
You
you,
would.
Ryan.
I had to work to get Daniel to try this one.
I know. I was not excited, but it impressed me. My number 3, Ryan, has gone 3-5-5 back to 3. And man, probably the most praised board game by our gaming group people that we like. This is the game that, honestly, of all games, probably gets dare I say, Ryan, demanded.
It is demanded
the
sometimes.
most. This goes to Eldritch Horror. Ryan, this is probably a game that has given some of the greatest board game memories that we have, like in terms of just game that has given some of these just incredible highs, and I just think the game is really crafted to do that. One, it's just an incredible sandbox. We've we came from Arkham Horror. I actually played a ton of Arkham Horror.
Played a lot
of Arkham Horror. And then moved to Eldritch Horror. And what Eldritch Horror did was it kept what we liked about Arkham Horror, I think, in terms of the just not knowing what event, drawing an event card. And you start to get more and more expansions, and the variability is just off the charts. The characters, the ancient ones, the events, all of it. But the system's really streamlined from Arkham Horror to Eldritch Horror. Like, it felt like they just cleaned it up. The actions are just simple. No more gate burst, praise the Lord. Get rid of that mechanic. But it just felt like a much more refined experience, to where now you can just you're not getting bogged down in all these like things, these other things, but it's just leaning into the variability of the game and it delivering a completely unique experience every time you play. And that's what this game does. When you go into a game of Eldritch Horror, it is going to lead you down a path that you have no idea, right?
Yeah.
And that's the fun of it, is finding this just unique puzzle that you're in and figuring out how are we going to pull this off. And the game is not easy. I mean, we lose a decent amount. But what I love about this game is because of all that, the variables and all of that, is there are moments, Ryan, where we are sitting there as a group and we're like, it appears as if there is no chance. All hope is lost. But then someone at the table, usually Ryan, says, but wait, what if you go there and you trade this item to this person and we go here and we roll and we have to roll, but we get one die and we need a 6 and like just the craziest Hail Mary, and we pull it off. And that is Eldritch Horror just is able to deliver moments like that, maybe more than or just in a more exciting way than I have seen in other games. And so you add all of that, and it's just a fresh take every single game. But the highs of Eldritch Horror are so high that they even let me put up with some of the lows. And the lows, you can get whooped in this game, and that is sad. But the highs of Eldritch Horror just are the top board gaming experiences I've had. And that's what is keeping it here at my number 3, and one that, rightfully, Ryan, right? As much as you try to fight against your gaming group always demanding this one, I think it has a rightful spot here at the top. There's a reason it is so beloved.
Yeah, I mean, it's been one of my most consistently played big games over the past decade. Really.
Totally.
And it's one that you have to be okay with. A lot of what you're doing in the game is having an encounter where you're going to be rolling with skill checks to do, whatever it is. And some people, that's going to kind of turn them off from the experience. I think we find it a lot of fun to sit around with friends and be reading other people's cards and what's happening and rolling the dice, so that rhythm of that throughout the game. But it is really we talk a lot about the strategy in the game and how it's about managing probabilities and where do you take shots on things. So, I mean, I think some people might see this on our list this high. Mine just was outside of my top 10. And might be surprised alongside a lot of these other games that maybe don't seem quite maybe as random, I guess, as Eldritch. We did do a full review of it, though. We can link that. So if you're interested in understanding us better of what is it about Eldritch that clicks for us, a comprehensive look is available in that video. Yes. It's pretty, our reviews are, we try to be somewhat comprehensive of how we feel.
3-star.
Yes. My number 3
Good
is
segue.
brand new to the list. It is the only new game in my top 10, and 3 is really high.
This is shocking me just as much the second time around as the first one.
Just as much the second time. I mean, I think even the first time you knew this one
actually, it really didn't surprise
was
me
going
that
to be
much.
high.
This is really high.
And I've played it 7 times, which is saying something because this is not a short game. This is Slay the Spire, the board game. And
3.
I know I enjoy these types of kind of big, epic cooperative experiences, whether it's Mage Knight, Too Many Bones was lower on my list. And particularly with one other person where you get that co-op experience, but maybe the length isn't getting so out of control. And just the way that this game delivers that board game experience in a way that captures so much of what I love about the video game is really just a testament to the design team behind Slay the Spire. I should have had more confidence in them. They obviously are such a good design team, in just evidenced by Slay the Spire, the video game. We were definitely skeptical when we heard this was coming to a board game. It just seemed like kind of why. But they really nailed it. And There are a lot of things about it that feel different, but the ability to be able to share that experience with another person at the table is huge. And it changes the feel of how you're going about it because you are deck building with someone else. You know, you do know your partners if you're playing 2-player, their strengths and maybe what you're leaning more into. It's almost like this deck building together, you know, to synergize, and that is just very, very fun. But then also getting to just share the satisfaction of the tight Slay the Spire loop. This game just gives you so many frequent upgrades and like getting something and oh, we go into the next room and the next room just gives everybody a relic and everybody gets a relic and that like gives you some new powerful thing that they really dialed that in with the video game and were able to bring that experience here to the board game as well. I mean, this feels, my brain says, surely this is going to have to settle a little bit on my list. Like it's new, it's exciting, it's debuting high.
I don't know.
But then my heart is going, what about it is going to drop? Like, what about playing it more? Because it's the type of game that every game is so unique with the way that your build is and how the run goes that it doesn't really have a diminishing, you know, as you do more plays, which that is something that's true of a lot of our favorite games. We do like to play our favorite games many, many times. And this is a game I can see myself playing many
as
many
much as
times.
the video game.
I don't know. I mean, it takes a lot longer to do a run of the board game than it does to do a run of the video game. And I've played this, like I said, 2-player is probably my favorite. I have played it with 3, which is a lot of fun, though you start getting a little long, a little harder to like know what your partners are doing because you got 2 to keep track of and the battles are a lot more going on. And I've played solo and I actually really enjoy solo. That's something I can see myself doing every once in a while, even though it's longer and more work to do than just sitting down and playing the video game. It is this different experience and sometimes it's kind of what I'm looking for a little more. But man, big debut here. They've announced Slay the Spire 2, the video game. I've got my fingers crossed that the board game has done well enough that maybe some of that translates into like expansion content for the board game. That'd be very, very cool. That said, even if I never get a drip of new content for this game, there is tons and tons in this box, and I'm having a blast with it so far.
Speaking of a game that has tons of things in the box, my number 2 sits steady from number 2 of last year and is the longest board game that I own and is able to, within those 8 hours, just give me a board game experience, Ryan, that is unlike any experience just in the length, but honestly, unlike any experience just in general of 8 hours of just bonding with friends and this incredible shared experience. This goes to Twilight Imperium 4th edition. We originally had the 3rd edition of this game.
Very briefly. It was me finally pulling the trigger on the 3rd edition that got them to announce the 4th edition.
I know. And we played it maybe a couple times, but then you got the 4th edition. I got it a little bit later. And it makes a ton of improvements from the 3rd edition, really refines a lot of things, which is good in a game that long. Oh my gosh, they fixed the whole tech tree. I remember bringing out the diagram in the 3rd edition, trying to figure out how to upgrade tech. So a lot of great improvements, but this game, on the surface, might look like, oh, that's just like a space combat war game.
Yeah, it's all about fighting.
It's all about fighting. No, that is not the case, unless you want to be really bad at the game. This game is primarily kind of a one diplomacy. I mean, there is a ton of above the table interaction between players. I think about how much this comes into play, especially, so everyone kind of at the start of the game, is going out and exploring and getting all of these planets. Now, planets are really cool because every planet card has 2 values. It has a resource value, which is good for building more ships and stuff like that, but it's got an influence value as well, which influence is going to be key because once someone gets to Mechatol Rex, the huge planet in the center, that starts the agenda phase where there are going to be I think it's like every round 2 cards from the agenda deck that are going to be flipped over and voted upon, and your votes are your influence. And let me tell you, folks, these are some crazy cards. Like, there are like a law that, if passed, permanently is going to change something for the rest of the game in a drastic
way. Like fundamental rules of the game.
Like a fundamental thing, or get attached to a player and like change something about that player. I mean, these are crazy things. And so there's so much like interactions and, should we pass this? Should we not? I think one of the key things in this game is not appearing as if you are in first place. There's a lot of arguing trying to, not make yourself appear like you're the winner. I can think about just all of the above the table interactions that are incredibly fun. And then what's funny interesting about the agenda phase is they flip one card, you vote on it, but you're always going to flip a second one and your votes don't reset. So you don't know, should I go in on this now and risk not having votes for this second one, or should I hold and be able to vote for that second one? So that part of the game is super cool. And then you just add in that. So obviously there's going to be combat. There's all that, but it is all around getting 10 victory points. That is how you win the game. And it's from these objective cards. And so you are trying to complete objectives. It's not necessarily who's the strongest. It's who can complete those objectives. And so the game it gives such a epic, big, this is one of those games where like, you at the end of the day you are recapping what happened, the crazy mood. This game just has so many crazy moments that happened and the interactions that happened between players. You spend a whole day on it, and I believe giving a game, one board game, like that's a hard get. Like you talk about when we play on a game day, you could play like 4, 5, 6 board games during what would take one game of Twilight Imperium. I believe what it gives you in that full day lives up to the experience. So sticking at my number 2, and gosh, I will get another play of it once my kids get old enough. Yeah. We'll be whipping out TI4 every night.
How many kids you got over there, Dang?
I know, we're working.
Speaking of staying steady at number 2, my has been at number 2 for 4 years in a row, holding on. And this is a game that has already been mentioned by Dang.
Oh.
Apparently, I like it a little bit more.
I seriously don't remember.
This is Terraforming Mars. And again, it hits on I feel like there's some common themes the more we talk about some of the games here in my top 10 of like,
especially when we do it twice.
Yeah, it's really feeling familiar. It's weird. But the cards in this game and the steady flow of getting new cards, and especially my favorite way to play this game is with the drafting of the research phase, where you're not just getting 4 cards and buying, you're actually drafting those and then picking, which adds this really nice interaction of not just what do I want, but what do I not want to be passing to my opponents. But just that steady flow of new opportunities into your hand and what's worth going after, what's worth paying to get into your hand, because you have to make that decision of like to keep it as an option, even if you don't know for sure. You have to pay that 3 credits up front to grab it, and that's often a tough decision. But talk about satisfying. This is another one that's just like a poster child for satisfying engine building. Almost everything you're doing with the tableau and the cards is building up your engine in some way, whether that's directly more credit production or steel or titanium, or you're leaning into some of these different systems with the plants that let you get greeneries or the heat. And such a unique element of how the game progresses, right? Like that thing with the 3 vital metrics of whether we've terraformed Mars enough, of the water and the oxygen and the temperature, like is so interesting, and it makes each game feel very different. Because I've had games where like we all hammered up the temperature for whatever reason, like the game played out in a way that the temperature went way up and was like almost full before the oxygen, and oceans really got going. And that really changes how the game feels, because suddenly a heat strategy where you're producing a lot of heat is not as powerful down the stretch because once you're not able to spend it to actually increase it, it's not really good for anything. You also might be able to play cards.
Well, I was going to say certain cards that have a high threshold, you can get them out early.
Yeah. There's something that usually would be a late game card, but because that one happened to go up more quickly, you get it earlier and you're able to build an engine around it. And so it really is a fun and it's deeply tied into the thematic
it fits really
pieces of the game. It's just a really nice design decision there. But I think this game strikes just a great balance for my taste of the working on building up my own thing while also interacting with other players. There's a little bit of negative interaction that goes like past what I would probably want it to be.
You don't like sending asteroids at people?
Anytime, somebody has to send the asteroid and destroy like 8 plants from another player, it's usually sent with an apology of like, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry I paid 28 credits to destroy your
usually those cards, like the player is doing it mainly for the other benefits. There are some times where you're like, ooh, this is perfect to hurt this player that's ahead. But a lot of times it's just collateral and you're like, sorry, I have to destroy somebody's plants.
Yeah.
So it's not my favorite moment in the game, but it's not too bad. And but there's so many other interaction points of as tiles are coming out onto the map and like you can mooch off of other people's stuff, whether it's just oceans that you get credits being next to, but also greeneries that like, ooh, I could slide in here with a city and get some points. But then the initial push for milestones right at the beginning of the game, like especially if you're in a game with more than 3 players, it's like, well, 3 milestones can be claimed and everybody's thinking and you're kind of keeping an eye on who's going for what because it's huge to not get shut out of milestones. And then you've got the awards that like, ooh, if I can fund one of those early, then I get it cheaper. But now everybody knows that thing is scoring for everybody at the end of the game. And so you've given people more time to potentially beat you in the thing that you funded. And so I find that every time I play this, all that just comes together so nicely. The rhythm of it with every round and building up and getting more cards and that initial moment, right? We play with the Prelude expansion, getting your initial 10 cards, your 4 Prelude cards, 2 corporations being like, where am I going to be starting this game?
One of the greatest moments in board gaming. I love that.
And the Prelude expansion is so good. You just feel like you launch into the game with some really strong initial things. We also really like the Colonies expansion. Like if I'm playing with an experienced group, I do like the Colonies. We recently got Prelude 2, which, we'll take more Prelude stuff. We would love it. But the last time I played, also got to play with the new mini expansion module where you can actually randomize the milestones and the awards on any map.
I haven't tried that
which
yet.
is awesome because it used to be that like whatever map you pick, it's always, the Hellas map is always these milestones, always these awards. Well, now you can mix that up on any map, which is just... that's the type of thing that's the type of thing that gets us to get our wallets out without any self-control. So
that's true.
Terraforming Mars, it is showed real staying power. I'm up to 33 total plays. Still loving it. And that brings us, we only got one game left, which means we need to go and pick our final winner. All right, this is it, the final spin of the wheel. I do want to take this opportunity to just say thanks for watching. Whether you're someone who's watched the channel for a while or this is your first time spending some time with us, we really do appreciate it. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to put videos together, but it certainly makes it more worth it when it seems like people are enjoying them. So thanks for taking some time out of your day to spend with us and just, talk about board games. Yeah. But let's kick it off here. Let's spin this wheel. And find out who our final winner is. Noel! Woohoo! Noel and no last name, but apparently it was the only Noel, so that was enough to determine the winner. Congratulations, Noel. It's hard to talk, man, for an hour and a half on end. We are glad that you're going to get to enjoy one of these games. We'll be in touch. Congratulations. All right, Daniel. Here it is. Our time of the year where we get to just spend some quality time talking about our favorite board game.
I know.
Games, board games.
Could be plural.
Could be plural.
It could be plural.
Have to find out.
We'll find out. Could be a shakeup, Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan, it's been amazing thinking about our journey through board gaming and how many It started with Killer Bunnies, and from that point on, we have accumulated a lot of board games and played a lot of games and gotten to try a lot of games. And yet, this one game, specifically for you, but I think clearly now also for me, has risen to the top of them all. And despite being an older game that is getting some resurgence in the board gaming world today, I think we still believe is the just pillar of excellence when it comes to board gaming. This is Agricola. Ryan, it does warm my heart to see the whole, we didn't back the whole, kind of crowdfunding for the newest Agricola, partially just because we love our current Agricola, and it's kind of like, well, why do we need anything different? But I will say it does warm my heart to see so many people who are now getting into this game, because the reality is this game came out in 2007.
I know, I forget how old it is, and we got into it I think in 2011.
So it's a old game at this point, and a game that I think so many people just would have missed along the way, and now are getting a chance to discover how incredible this game is. And this is a game that hits on so many things that I think we love. Ryan was mentioning earlier that we love games that are tight. This game is very tight.
It's very tight.
You feel like every action, I can't think of a game, honestly, where your worker placement, the value of what that worker needs to give you.
I need to find the best thing to do with this worker right now.
You cannot be wasting time with that. So it is just such a crunchy worker placement. But you add with that the fact that it is accumulating resources. So resources can build up if they don't get taken, which just is amazing, because what it does is already your decisions were critically important. But now you're like, oh my gosh, well, I was going to do this, but look over there. There's 5 read. There's 5 read.
It makes the worker placement so much more dynamic that it shocks me that more games don't use this, where it's kind of this fluctuating value of spaces, and like even a decision like, do I take this now or do I get start player so that I can get it right after it accumulates next turn? It's good stuff.
So the worker placement is just incredibly interesting, dynamic, exciting. But then you add the cards, and Agricola cards, when you get that full hand of 14 cards, 7 occupations, 7 minor improvements, and, we all sit there for, 5 minutes at the start of the game just reading our cards, because you are just, you're pouring through, and the cards are so impactful and interesting, and there's so much opportunity. I mean, you're trying to find like, okay, it's interesting in Agricola, like, every Agricola game, you're kind of trying to do the same thing in terms of the outcome at the end is fairly similar. Get a lot of people, try to get to like stone houses, you want to be well-rounded, right? Some people complain about that, like that Agricola, but we like that. I think it forces this, you really want to try to be well-rounded because you get penalized if you don't have something. So the outcome is similar, but how you get there, and because the game is so hard, the way you're going to get there is just different every single game, and those cards and how you use them to get to that place, I think is just incredibly satisfying. I mean, this game is so difficult, and it's one that like you need to play this game to really get the most out of it. I mean,
for sure.
And I think my rankings are a testament to that. This wasn't always my favorite game. I mean, when we go back to the days when Ryan was whooping me left and right in Agricola, like this was low. Yeah. But you know what changed, Ryan, is I started to really grasp the strategy in it and how to play well. And when it clicks, and now suddenly you understand the systems, and then suddenly you're thinking less about how to, just do the base things, because you kind of know how you're going to get there. And suddenly you can just focus on the cards and these just crazy different ways you can make that thing happen. So, gosh, I love Agricola at 2-player. I've played it with my wife, but when you can get more players and you can include,
cutthroat it too, man.
With
only one wood spot.
It is cutthroat. Yeah, but I do like when you can add more players. and it opens up a lot more of the cards as well, that are available. Ryan's played it with 6 players. I haven't done that.
I have, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. So,
absolutely fantastic.
one of the things, we've said this before, Ryan, but it's such an incredible experience, and it always delivers. It always delivers an incredible experience. Like, there, honestly, in our top 10, it is probably the most consistent game.
Yeah, and I think it's once you kind of achieve that base mastery of the core systems,
right,
that becomes true.
That's true.
Where it's like, okay, you've kind of got it down, but once you've got that down and now you're just coming to a fresh, hand of cards every time, it's so true. I cannot remember the last time I had a quote-unquote bad game of Agricola. I've had games where I did worse than normal or didn't, win, but the game experience is like just always so good.
Right. So kind of shocking a little bit for me, because like I'm a thematic guy. I'm a like cooperative. I'm epic. And yet look at this.
I just love seeing Agricola and Twilight Imperium side by side, right at the top.
They could be more different, and yet they sit side by side in my heart. So that is my number 1. But I'm very curious, Ryan.
Very curious
about what other game might be at the top.
You see, I was thinking about Killer Bunnies, and
you
thought I left
to
it
reflect on.
Yeah, no, it's once again Agricola, and
how many years in a row, Ryan?
On Daniel's list, it's like a little bit of a surprise that Agricola's. With me, it has not. It's been kind of as long as I can remember.
If it ever gets dethroned, it'll be the shock of the world.
The day. Yeah, and I mean, I'm to the point where it's like hard to picture what a game would have to be to do it. Because here's the thing with Agricola is I love it more now at 94 plays than I did at 50 plays.
Ryan, I hope your love of your wife grows like your love of Agricola.
I hope so too. Yes, like a fine wine. like
fine wine.
But it's so like a new game coming to compete for this, it's not just competing with like Agricola. It's competing with Agricola that has had 90 plays to just grow into such.
We love it more today.
The type of game that would compete with it is probably a game that would take that long, because that's the style of game that would. And so it's a really tall task, right, for it to compete with it. It just. Every time I play it, it's like returning to a good old friend, that core system that you're so familiar with that like you don't have to think so hard about those parts of the games, and it lets you really focus on the interesting variations that each game brings. And I was thinking about how like that beginning of the game, you're strategizing what you think you're going to play, which occupations and everything. But it almost never, in fact, I think it never goes the way I think I am going. It's going to.
You got to pivot.
It always changes. I always am like, I'm not going to be able to play this. I'm going to need to do this. Oh, this card I wasn't going to play at all. You got to
stay on your toes.
I could do it. And I honestly think that is part of what I love about it so much is that you do build this initial plan. You know what's available to you up front, but then you're constantly adapting as the game goes by. And like, there's so many rounds leading up to a harvest where you end up going into the harvest having done a very different thing than you like had planned. You went into the round being like, I need to get this done before the harvest. And by the time you get there, you're like, well, I didn't do that, but I did do this other thing that was like actually a pretty good contingency plan. And it feels good to have pulled that off. And just that rhythm, I mean, it really is a rhythm in this game of the in between the harvests, right? Of, because each harvest is when you're going to have your people fed, but it's often, when you're going to want to have gotten other important things done, whether that's growing your family or taking a big step with your food engine moving forward. And those harvests get shorter, the time between them is shorter and shorter as the game goes on, but you're hopefully getting more and more powerful. I really hope with all the new people that are likely to be trying this game in the next, couple years with the new edition and everything, I hope that people give it enough plays. Cause like, that's the thing is the experience that we're selling as the best game we've ever played. It's only that with a lot of plays. It really is. Like it was good initially.
Yeah.
But it only ascended to this, like it just, the stratosphere, the upper echelon of. I mean, for me, there's a big gap, honestly, at this point between my 1 and my 2. Like, it's not like Terraforming Mars is like, I mean, it really is just like nothing's even close to touching it.
Wow.
And that wasn't always true. Agricola was winning the race and has extended its lead here. 15.
Jeez.
We're coming up on 15 years later after originally getting this game.
Holy cow. Can't wait till you're like
and
85 and still just Agricola #1.
I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll be here, old men on the channel. Will we still be talking about 16th century farming? I don't know. But, we talk about a lot of newer games, and some of those games even made our list. But this really, nothing can speak higher to this, that we're here year after year now saying that Agricola is still the best board game that both of us, I guess, have ever played. Hey, thanks for sticking around to just celebrate these great games with us. Whether you're a frequent on the channel or new to the channel, we have lots of other videos that you could check out. There's a few of them suggested here. Hopefully you'll stick around and spend more time talking about board games with us in the future. We will see you in the next one.